What is it, Greg?
The No Sour Fun Time Haha Power Hour. Moving Wisconsin forward, one joke at a time. This is Kristen Bry with As Goes Wisconsin.
Yada, yada, yada.
Hello, Wisconsin!
Hello, Wisconsin. Yes, indeed. Welcome to the No Sour Haha Fun Time Power Hour, of which there's not many left. Womp womp.
That did not sound like a sympathetic womp womp. That sounded more like a haha, you're done womp womp.
No,
yeah,
not
it felt like it.
We like it. If we didn't like it, we wouldn't be doing it for the last couple months.
It was the first thing to be axed.
Well, it's just, I don't know. So if you missed yesterday's show, we're talking about this. I think all the shows are talking about this. We're having a little bit of a shake-up. Rearrangement of the civic media schedule as we welcome new local shows to some of the different local stations. We switch everyone who had a 3-hour show is going to a 2-hour show. It's better for podcasts. It's better just for consistency across all the shows. And for our show in particular, it means we are moving from we're going to start at 10 instead of 11, and we will be done at 12 instead of 2. And so as we were talking about how to condense 3 hours into 2 hours,
starting to tear up.
The No Sour Haha Fun Time Hour is now going to be like
didn't even say right.
A half hour?
No, don't even. If you can't give it a full hour, don't even.
30 minutes of No Sour Haha Fun Time Power.
Because here's the thing, Jane. Here's the thing, Kristen. I see what's going on here. All right. I see through the lies. You start at half an hour, then it turns into the 15 minute, then it turns into half a segment. Then it's just gone.
Then it's just a game.
Then it's not even this is not a game.
This is not a game. We're talking about practice, not the game. Not the game that I love. We're talking about practice.
And I'm a company man, all right? You understand me? I'm a company man. I understand the moves. But what I don't understand is why you want to axe it with such impunity that you don't even care that it's going away.
We do care that it's going away. Actually, we got a comment yesterday on the live stream that said,
our friend Changerous.
Our friend Changerous said, he's like, does that mean no more fun hour?
Yeah, Changerous, guess what?
But now we just have to put fun throughout the entire show.
Nothing's fun anymore. It's non-fun. It is the non-fun, ho-hum, salty time.
Great.
Pirate.
I'm so glad, Greg, you don't take things personally.
Whatever, Jane.
Not a sensitive soul at all.
I got the soul of a worn trucker.
But so you only have one more next Wednesday.
Yeah, that's
will be your last No Sour Haha Fun Time Power Hour. But you will still be here on Wednesdays.
If you'll have me.
We will definitely have you.
Of course. Oh, yeah. Well, here's what I'm going to do. At the noon hour, I'm just going to get on my phone. I'll give my number out. And while you're all done, I'm just going to allow people to call in. We'll group chat it, and I'll just talk for like an hour
and see what happens. Discord channel and see who joins.
Totally. I mean, let's see how this goes. This is how Joe Rogan started, right? Joe Rogan started like that way.
Totally.
Just giving out his phone number to people and call in.
Chatting.
Yeah, and then he totally said some cool things, right? He's totally cool guy. You see, I'm an innovator. No difference is a difference. Don't even start with me. Don't even start with me.
Is there a different way to pronounce innovator?
No, it's just innovator. You're thinking of innovative. Jerk. I'm just saying here, I will mourn next week. I will wear all black. I will come.
I hope it's really hot.
I look hot in black. Let me tell you.
I actually checked the forecast. It's going to be. We were in it for a beautiful stretch.
I wear a black hat.
Okay.
It's going to be in the 80s.
Oh God.
Is that hot for you?
Dude, look at me. You're
made for winter.
I am made of like insulation. Like if you were doing an autopsy on me, it would be like, is that cake? No, it's attic insulation inside of him, which I actually have a joke about in my stand-up. But point is, I will be sad, but you know what? I'm happy for you. I'm happy for Jane. I'm happy for the show. I'm happy for everybody because I think 2 hours will be perfect, especially just from my point of view. These last few weeks, those first hours we've been doing, been real fun.
Real fun.
Yep. Getting good engagement with people. I think that's going to help y'all. But I know we can talk about this off air.
So we're excited. We're excited about the time change. We're excited about the schedule changes. So as you're listening to your favorite shows, nothing's going away. So it just may be in a different
getting shifted.
getting shifted around as far as when things are starting, when things are ending. Some things are going to the morning, some things are going in the afternoon. But that is all officially happening June 5th. So until then, programming per usual. All right.
Yeah.
My question, Jane, you can't answer this because you're not a beer drinker.
All right.
No, not at all.
No.
Oh.
Buttery Chardonnay.
I should get that as my license plate.
Next to Danger. Was it Danger Lady Jane or is it Buttery Chardonnay?
Oh, it's a tough call between the two of those.
But so is there anyone out there, is there anyone out there who has changed their watery light beer drinking habits since, I guess, in general? But I mean, obviously in reaction to the Bud Light controversy.
I mean, Kid Rock definitely knew how to shoot up a case of beer.
He missed 3 times.
I know.
But, and I'm not saying if you're saying I'm not buying it now, or you're saying I am buying it to support them, but there's also, because there's 2 different articles I found in the last week. One was from Vox, one was from Vice. The Vice one is the beer ad culture war is killing me inside. And then the Vox one is have all the beers gone woke investigation? Because apparently, and I didn't see this, even before the Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light commercials came out, Miller Lite had done something for Women's History Month as far as a campaign. It was Alana Glazer, who is a comedian, actress. She was in Broad City. And it was basically a campaign around taking old beer ads where women were in bikinis, composting those ads, then like selling them as fertilizer to like grow the hops that then they will use by female beer makers. Like it was very
convoluted.
Yeah. And so then there was some right-wing people who got upset about that and like supporting women. And I just, in general, like, it obviously is working because while I'm not sure Bud Light or Anheuser-Busch is going broke, sales are down. As I said yesterday, I have a friend who works for Pabst and my friends who work for Miller who've said sales have been up. So certainly this is a protest that has been lasting. So there are people out there who are holding to their guns and like expect these corporations to be your political ally when they are very much not. And is there anyone who can attest to either this influencing you on what kind of light beer you buy? 844-967-2789. I would just if it has, I would love to hear the reason. Because like for me, I'm not gonna do anything because I don't think the baby wants Miller Lite. But
they want a craft beer.
They want a craft beer. They want a craft and what is
Lakeford,
it? River West Stein.
River West Stein, Eastside Dark, and extended play, all available.
Extended play. They're all very good.
All available.
But it's interesting to me how many people are like, because now that we're entering Pride Month, all the corporations are going to get super pridey and sell stuff. And Target's been doing this for years, but even them are kind of getting bullied into taking things down. And so it's just like, but I think this like illusion, and we kind of talked about it yesterday of like brands that we trust and the reputational score, but also like, I don't know, does people really believe that the companies that they buy stuff from believe in what their marketing campaigns say? And that they're like your friend and your ally versus like just doing whatever they can to sell you more stuff?
I think that some people do. I think some people just, like the thing with Target, we were talking about before off air, Target has always had a history of doing Pride Month clothing, that kind of stuff. But they are a company that is given heavily to Republican candidates in Minnesota.
Totally.
Very anti-LGBTQ commit candidates they've done in the past. So I don't know if it's a matter of like, I can go to Target. I don't have to go to Walmart, or I can buy Pride stuff there, but don't make me face the reality. I mean, the fact that they're corporations, they're billion-dollar corporations. They will do whatever it takes to make money.
Mm-hmm.
They do not care even about their own employees' opinions, most likely. If it gets to the bottom line, they'll either do it or not do it. And individuals who are fooling themselves into thinking that Miller Lite or Bud Light or whatever that's just what they are. They're fools. I mean,
well, and this is from the Vox article, and I thought this was poignant. So, in exactly what you said, because same thing with Anheuser-Busch and then the beer companies, like basically Miller Lite, Molson Coors and Anheuser-Busch basically own almost all of the beer you're going to ever drink
pretty much
in the US.
Yep.
And it's basically craft breweries that haven't been bought up by them yet. And that's it. And so, but it's like, so on the one hand, they have these marketing campaigns that are like progressive or woke or whatever. But as you said, the way that they donate, the way that the bills that they're lobbying for certainly lean a different way. And so this is quoting from the Vox article. It's almost like beer companies do not have a consistent, coherent set of morals and values consumers should look to for cues on what to buy. The same goes for all companies. For that matter, corporations are not your friends, let alone your political allies. Think of it this way. Whatever your political inclinations, the beers are the drinking buddies you suspect don't really have your best interest at heart when they suggest you order one more beer at the bar before you head home. They've been putting all the rounds on your tab and are drinking with the other guy at the bar who really irks you. I was like, that's a good analogy.
That's a great analogy. I mean, this is what it comes down to. None of these companies, none of them, I don't care if it's beer, I don't care if it's clothes, I don't care what it is. If they are a multi-million-dollar company, they don't care about you. They just don't.
Yeah.
And that's all there is to it.
So I'm interested to hear from you if any of this controversy has changed your purchasing habits in the last bit, as far as makes you want to buy it more, wants to make you buy it less. 844-967-2789. We will take your calls and your texts when we come back. This is As Goes Wisconsin.
Oh,
that is an exasperation.
Sorry. Go on. I apologize.
Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. I'm Kristen Bride. That was Greg Bach. And of course, we have Jane Matnair. And we were talking about, I'm looking for someone to tell me that the ads or the influence marketing that has happened with the beer companies over the last, I guess this year alone, has influenced your purchasing habits. Because it clearly there's people out there who it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I just would like to ask, like, what did you really think that they had your back before they did this? Did you really think that they were like represented your identity?
But don't you think part of it too is just whether or not they believe what they're selling, whether or not I believe they're on my side? I just don't like them, and I'm not going to shop there. I don't like their politics. I don't like this. I don't like the handling of this.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to, I don't know that we really trust companies that much. It's more about, this is the only way that I can do something about it. 844-967-2789, 844-96-PARTY from the 608. Not Budweiser. There are definitely stores, products in Wisconsin I try to avoid and not buy from because of their political contributions. See the WMC list for more details. My big battle is if I keep getting Founders beer, which is so good, but has had some bad employee relations.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I want to go look up this WMC Wisconsin list. Yeah. The membership. Yeah, I don't know. It's just because I feel like, because the thing that's funny about Bud Light right now is like it is on sale. So if you really have no political inclinations, as far as, or you're not taking this personally, you can get a good deal right now.
Well, and see that also brings up the question I always have about when there's a societal momentary outrage, which is all these individuals who are blowing up cans and shooting cans and going on their Twitters and their Facebooks saying all sorts of things about stuff they know nothing about. When will it wane where they're going to be at a party in a backyard and there's nothing but Bud Light and they're going to look at it and go, nope, can't do it. And they're going to be like, I really want a beer. Like eventually they'll just give in and they'll start drinking it again. Like this time next year, Bud Light, they'll be same price and no one will care anymore. And the only people who will don't matter. You know what I mean? Like, the people who do care still don't matter, but like those individuals who want so bad to be outraged and angry, they're going to go to 4th of July and give in and at least drink a Bud Light Lime.
Or even more so the people who are, I think Scott Walker had a video. Like he was also late to the game.
Oh yeah.
Because it was like Kid Rock
for dumping on Bud.
For throwing out the Bud Light cans in his fridge. Who knows if it was in his fridge, but it was with those big thumbs of his.
Yeah.
Do you remember that weird picture of his hands?
Yeah,
you don't remember this? Okay,
nope.
anyways. But it was like 3 weeks after this it all broke, and like after the Kid Rock video. And so he was adding on, but it's like Scott Walker doesn't care.
No.
So all the people who are doing performative protests,
Outrage.
those will be the first people to be like, all right, fine, I'll take a Bud if that's all you got at whatever 4th of July party they're at this year.
And trust me, in another 3 months, this same group of people will have a new thing that they are outraged about because that is the MO of the Republican Party.
And they'll call us snowflakes.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's
but that's the Target thing. Like and the thing is, I don't think Target is like it's the pressure of cancel culture and it's people boycotting their shopping. It's because people are being their actual staff is being threatened. Yeah. And so they're like, well, we're pulling some of this stuff for the safety of our employees.
Think about that, people.
Yeah.
Just think about that.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of videos of people like going to Target and it's not even like pride clothing. It's just they're upset with the colors that quote unquote boys clothing has. And they'll make a scene in a Target.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing?
Who has the time?
Yeah, exactly. Like this is someone who accidentally got 500,000 followers because he said something stupid. And now he can quit his job because Instagram considers him as influencer. So now he gets to go and bother people when they're at a Walmart.
Who is this?
It's just some dude I saw on TikTok. I didn't get his name, but like he's at a Target and he's upset about the clothing that's for boys because it looks too feminine. And we are feminizing men and we are taking away their manlyhood. Yeah, they're for these shirts.
They're androgynous right now.
Yeah, exactly. At this point, everything down below, purely mechanical.
All right. Well, to end on a high note before we welcome our guests in the next segment, what do you want to say about female brewers?
Yes. So the Miller Lite thing, they were talking about women in brewing. If you really want to be a part of something cool or just read up about it, you can also donate to it. The Pink Boots Society is a nonprofit organization, international membership. It supports women and non-binary people working in fermented beverage and allied industries. At Lakefront, we have done now, as my time been there, done 2 beers that work directly with them, where we bring in women to help create the brew, to help come up with the idea, create it, brew it, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they wear wonderful pink jumpsuits with pink boots. And it is all about awareness about bringing women into this industry, which is something we need, and non-binary people as well, because it is a very male-dominated world. And this is about fostering empowerment and inclusivity. So the Pink Boots Society, it's pinkbootssociety.org. Find out more about that, and you can get something cool.
In on something cool. All right. Well, something else that is not cool, apparently, if you run into it, is wild parsnips. And so when we come back, we're going to be talking to Jason Granberg and Mackenzie Manicki about invasive plants, wild parsnips. Watch out. We'll be back in a minute. This is As Goes Wisconsin.
Don't let butt stuff get in the way of your screening.
Let's have a parsnip. I want to have a parsnip. Roast it up, crunch. Let's have a parsnip. Mother? I'm going to let you have it. Let's have a parsnip. I want to have a parsnip. Open, peel, bite. Let's have a parsnip. Because we're going to buy and buy and buy and get Tesco money.
I don't even know how to start this segment because you found a parsnip song.
Of course
Jane.
I did. This is what I live for. Are you kidding me?
What is the name of this? Is it a small British child?
It's a small British child named Harrison, and the song is called "Let's Have a Parsnip."
It's a parody off of what song?
It's not. I think it was an original.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
Our guests can tell us if there are more songs about parsnips.
Yes, I'm sure. So we are talking to Jason Granberg, who is an invasive species specialist in the Bureau of Natural Heritage Conservation at the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, and Mackenzie Manicki, who's also an invasive plant specialist in the Bureau of Natural Heritage Conservation at the Wisconsin DNR. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks, glad to be here.
So I'm going to let Jane kick this off because she found this and she's like, I want to talk about parsnips. And I was like, okay.
Well, I want to talk about this because, and I either saw it on WPR, Jason and Mackenzie, or it was a DNR release, because we've all seen parsnips. These wild parsnips grow in ditches and fields and stuff. And I know we've all seen them, and they can actually, they're kind of harmful, right?
They are. So wild parsnip, one of the reasons why they're harmful is they have a chemical called furanocoumarins. And so what these chemicals do is that when they make contact with your skin, they can infiltrate into your cells. And then when your cells are then exposed to ultraviolet light from sunlight, it creates cross linkages in your DNA. And it creates a form of genetic damage. If there's enough genetic damage, then your skin cells die. And it can create these blistering effects. So you can look this up online and look for wild parsnip or phytophotodermatitis blisters. And it can be as bad as having like a 3rd-degree burn.
Oh my God.
It creates these big, open, weeping blisters.
And it can leave scarring too, right, Jason?
It can also lead to scarring too. Other things that it can do is it will also make your skin more susceptible to future sunburns, and can lead to skin pigmentation. So as one of the ways that your skin will respond is that it will produce more melanin, and it will create a darkening of your skin where that burn had once occurred.
So, wow. So this is like a way worse if you come into contact with this than like poison ivy, as far as like poison ivy sucks, but as far as like the long-term effects of poison ivy, I don't think, unless you can probably tell me that too, but this sounds bad if you run into it.
Right. Poison ivy has urushiol, so it's an irritating oil. But the thing with wild parsnip and other members of the carrot family that it's in, there are other plants that we have in Wisconsin, cow parsnip and giant hogweed, that create much more worse burns. So I'm 6'4", and so sometimes like wild parsnip will be up to my waist. Giant hogweed can grow up to like 8 to 9 feet tall. It can be above your head.
Wow.
So there are plants that we have in Wisconsin that do have risks.
And so what do these things look like? So as far as the layperson, when you're picking, because at least the picture I'm seeing, I think this is an older article, but it's on WXCOW, and it kind of just like looks like baby's breath, like yellow baby's breath at like the top, if this is a correct picture. But like, what does it look like so people know not to touch it?
Is there a way that I can do a screen share real quick?
I don't know if you can.
Okay. Well, like if people have seen things like baby's breath, and they've seen things more like Queen Anne's lace, where it's got a white umbel-shaped flower, so like an umbrella-shaped flower. So they have this kind of flat top and lots of little flowers that form that common structure. Wild parsnip has that kind of they have yellow flowers. If you look along the stems have got these paired sets of pinnate leaves. So they're in pairs, and the outside edge is kind of wavy.
Okay.
If you look at the stem itself, it has this kind of like celery-like structure where it has these longitudinal lines. That's one way that you can describe it.
Okay.
Describing it in words doesn't give it justice, but if you Google wild parsnip.
And if you send me all the stuff, I can put it in our show notes for today to be able to put the pictures in there so people can see it. Because Mackenzie, where does this stuff usually grow? Is it like, do you have to be in the forest to like hiking to come into contact with this? Or is this kind of just like at a park?
Yeah, so you can definitely find it at a park. It likes sunny areas, so probably not so bad in a forest. It avoids the shade.
Okay.
But it can be found in a wide variety of moisture habitats. So yeah, that's another part of it. But definitely sunny areas. That's where it likes to focus. You can find it in roadsides, disturbed sites, so like old fields. Things like that. So I would recommend staying on trails if you're in a sunny area.
definitely avoid it.
Because again, it's one of those things that I think we've all seen, and it looks pretty innocuous. You know, you wouldn't think that it had such dangerous properties. So, do we have to blowtorch it, or how do we get rid of this stuff?
Yeah, so there's a variety of methods to control for this species. The most common one that I've seen done or I've done myself is using like a spade or a shovel to cut the taproot about 1 to 2 inches below the soil, or just straight up pulling the plant out of the ground if you can. You know, wear gloves, long sleeves. I would even wear like a face mask, something so you don't get burns on your face. So that's a really effective method, but otherwise, if that's good for small populations, if you have a larger population, you're going to want to maybe mow it, usually when it starts to flower, but before it has started to set seed. Otherwise, you're just going to be spreading seeds around. So those are the two most common methods. Otherwise, herbicides are another option, but yeah.
And so, because we're talking to Jason Granberg and Mackenzie Manicki, who are invasive species specialists at the Wisconsin DNR, and about wild parsnips,
which people need to know.
About because
yes, Jane, yes.
So why, like, what is the biology of like they are in the same family as parsnips that we eat, correct?
That's right. So wild parsnip, they were originally as a garden variety. And people have been cultivating parsnips in Europe and Asia for millennia. So I was doing a bit of reading on the cultivation of parsnips. And so people like to use them as like a sugar substitute before the occurrence of like cane sugar. And you kind of see that as a carryover into things like carrot cake.
Mm-hmm.
So people would either like roast the parsnips by themselves, or they would incorporate them into other baked goods. Going on to your last segment, I saw that in areas in Northern Ireland, people would take parsnips and they would add them with hops, and then they would boil them and turn them into beer, and then also into liquor.
Interesting.
So there's enough sugar in that, so that allows you to turn it into kind of a brew. There's some other interesting things about the history of the cultivation. So in Europe and in ancient Rome, there's the Emperor Tiberius. So he was known to enjoy parsnips, and as part of the tribute from Gaul and Germania, he would receive them. And so apparently the parsnips from that part of the world were sweeter because of the cold snap than what they could cultivate already in Italy. There's also other mentions of it being used in medicine. So there was a Greek physician named Galen, and so he was also at the time of the gladiators. So he was a Greek physician, and they came to Rome. And then he was one of the first physicians that wrote things down about different kinds of approaches. With the medicinal use of parsnips, so the Persians had described the uses as a gastric tonic, a laxative, a kidney stone crusher, and a diuretic.
Kidney stone crusher.
Kidney stone crusher.
That's my wrestling name.
And then in England, there was another physician. His name was Nicholas Culpeper, and this is in 1652. And he has this great line that says, "But the wild parsnips hath a cutting and attenuating, cleansing and an opening quality therein. It resists and helps the bitings of serpents, eases the pains and stitches in the sides, and dissolves wind both in the stomach and bowels, and provokes urine." So
Jason,
it's had this
sorry,
history.
Jason, next
of,
time you gotta do the accent. Do the accent next time. Come on.
Sorry, my skills are only just so far.
So in certain ways, parsnips are almost like, because I remember reading about this with like aloe, where it was like this magical plant that had all of these different things that it could solve. And so it sounds like parsnips, the ones that you can eat, were seen or have been seen similarly as far as it being a medicine, being used for all these different reasons. And so when did it switch, or how does it switch from being, a snack that you can make into beer and use for medicine and crush some kidney stones, to like, don't touch this, it will change your genetic code and burn you?
So all these plants that are in the carrot family, carrots, parsnips, celeries, they all have those furanocoumarins. And what can happen is, if you have a plant, or sometimes even animals, if you cease to cultivate them or maintain them, they can then revert back to a wild type. And then the local environment can then change how those genes are expressed. And that's one of the problems with parsnip. It reverted back to a wild form, and then those furanocoumarins are present.
So you can't the wild parsnips. You should not be going for the root and trying to make something out of the root.
I have heard of some people still being able to do that. I am not a forager in that way, so I can't make any recommendations on foraging wild parsnips for personal use.
And what purpose in nature does it serve? I mean, is there somebody who eats them?
There's different organisms that eat parsnips. There's actually as a potential biocontrol, there is a kind of a webworm that will eat parsnip, but we've not seen it occur in large enough numbers to actually control populations. Goats can feed on it. Other herbivores can eat on it. And
goats
in some cases,
goats are amazing.
Goats are garbage disposals.
Anything.
And in some cases, when you have animals that will feed on plants that have that furanocoumarin, it will build up in their skin. And so you can see cases where horses, cattle, goats, they will have a sunburn on the top of their muzzle where the fur is thinnest.
Interesting.
And here I was just sitting there going, parsnips? Why are we talking about parsnips? I am so fascinated.
So I guess as far as, so we know parsnips, but as summer is coming and people are spending more time outside, what other species, as two invasive species specialists, what else should people watch out for this summer?
So we have different invasive species that are in the state. And so one rule that we have that helps govern the control of them is called NR 40. It's the state's invasive species rule. And species can be regulated under one of two classes. They can be either restricted or prohibited. Prohibited species are our early detection plants and animals. That if they are detected in the landscape, we want to know about them as quickly as we can so that we can mobilize funding, staff, partners, so that we can help control them while they're still in small sizes. There are other plants and animals that we have that are on the list that pose dangers in their own ways. So we've got, like we're talking about parsnip, that's a human health hazard. The giant hogweed's another one. Japanese knotweed, if you've your homes, Japanese knotweed has been known to punch through asphalt. It can break through the foundations of your basement.
Wow.
There have been pictures of it, like where if it lands on a flat roof, it will punch down through your roof and ceiling and grow into your home.
What?
Oh my God.
We need to set you people up with some movie producers because there's a horror movie waiting to be made out of this stuff.
I'm just thinking
It's the Poison Ivy character from Batman.
I'm thinking Little Shop of Horrors now too. It's just like I was going to say I'm never going outside again. I don't know what to do anymore. Plants will just beat us. They win. They win.
Mother Earth undefeated.
Yeah, she'll always win.
And so many of these plants, they have these defenses because they can't escape. They can't run away. So it's like one of the like a philosophical question, like why do plants have thorns? Why are they poisonous? So plants like you've got nicotine. It's a natural insecticide because it will short circuit the insect's nervous system.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're coming up against a break, so we have to let you go. But this was fascinating. Thank you so much for joining us, Jason Granberg and Mackenzie Manicki. We'll send me all that information on my email so I can put it on today's show notes so people know what to look out for when it comes to wild parsnip. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
I want to have a parsnip. Open, peel, bite. Let's have a parsnip because we're going to buy and buy and buy and give Tesco money.
Pregnant women are smug. Everyone knows it, nobody says it because they're pregnant. Effing son of a gun. You think you're so deep now, you give me the creeps now that you're pregnant. I can't count all the ways how.
Can we just listen to that whole song?
So, do you want a boy or a girl?
Oh, it doesn't matter as long as it's healthy.
Really? Because I don't feel like those two things are related at all. It's not like one or the other.
No, as long as it's healthy.
I can't wait to hear someone say.
That song is amazing.
I've definitely said that thing.
Garfunkel notes are amazing.
But I also feel like it's an unfair question. It's like, oh, did you want a boy or a girl? It's like, what? How are you supposed to respond to that? Yes, I wanted a boy, but I'm having a girl. Like, it's like a silly small talk question.
I know, but the way that the smug pregnant woman answer is just like, ugh, why did I even bother asking in the first place? Yeah, you don't understand life until you have a baby, Greg. I guess I'll never understand life. Thank you, Jane, for bringing that up. I appreciate you.
My pleasure.
And then I also found, so I'll put that in the show notes as well. It's not an original.
Oh, let's have parsnips.
Let's have a parsnip. I knew that beat. It is a parody song of the Scissor Sisters. Let's have a Kiki. I want to have a Kiki. Yes. And we didn't have time to play it, but I haven't heard that song in a very long time.
Oh my God.
And so I will put that in the show notes as well today. But
I'm sorry, I just want to say that wild parsnip thing was really interesting.
I wanted to keep talking.
So fascinating.
I wanted to keep talking about it. I wanted to keep you. And
you were so skeptical.
Well, of course I was. We're talking about parsnips. I don't know anything about parsnips.
That's why we listen to this program, Greg.
That's true.
Okay. Well, pack your bags. We're going on a guild trip. I mean, yeah, and both of them had very relaxing voices. I just want them to read books to me.
Japanese, also just the name of some of these things, like wild parsnips. Kind of boring name. Japanese knotweed.
Yeah.
And then what was the other one? Giant hogweed.
Yeah.
Like.
And I am genuinely surprised that horror movie producers haven't, or maybe they have, but that stuff sounds seriously like right out of a movie. With roots that can bash through your asphalt and your basement and stuff.
And he's not kidding. I just looked up a picture of giant hogweed, and I don't think the woman in this picture is 6'4", as Jason says that he is, but it is 2.5 size, like 2.5 times taller than her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Of how tall this, and it's an adult woman.
There's even a song by the band Genesis called "Return of the Giant Hogweed." I mean,
is there really?
Yeah, it's back when Peter Gabriel was the lead singer.
Return of the giant hogweed. What is this? What is the song about?
Who knows? Peter Gabriel wrote it in the early 70s.
It's probably a lot of drugs.
Fanciful walking through meadows and things of that nature.
All right. Well, while Jane tries to find it, let's talk about who's going to be at the Laughing Tap this weekend.
Oh my goodness! It is one Marlon Hill. He's been on the Boondocks. He has been on Showtime at the Apollo. He has been a Milwaukee comedian for decades now.
He's from Milwaukee.
He's from Milwaukee.
Nice.
And he will be actually recording his DVD this weekend. So there's a show Thursday, Friday.
There's still DVDs.
I'm not going to get into it.
Okay.
I'm not going to try to explain technology to that man. I love him to death, but whatever. Yeah, one show Thursday, one show Friday, one show Saturday. All shows at 7:30. Tickets available at laughingtap.com. Get your tickets because they are selling well right now. And
nice.
You want to make sure if you want to come down, it's going to have great opening acts. And it's always great to have Marlon here for a weekend because he's just a good guy, lots of good energy, really good to the community for comedy, and just positive dude. Love him to death.
Hey, and it's a nice long weekend. What a great fun way to enjoy that.
Get your comedy on.
And
yeah,
absolutely.
Heck yeah.
Speaking of getting your comedy on,
yeah, what's up?
You're gonna be performing soon.
I will be.
Not in Milwaukee.
In July I will be, but not coming up in the next 2 weeks.
But coming up in the next 2 weeks, you will be performing in Chicago.
In Chicago, the 2nd and 3rd at the Den Theater, opening up for one Mr. Hari Kondabolu.
Are we gonna get him on the show?
We will. I will work on that. Yeah, I do want to get him on the show to talk about a couple of things, like his new special Vacation Baby, which is on YouTube right now. And he also just did a really good podcast episode with Hank Azaria regarding Apu and The Simpsons.
Wow.
So I want to talk to him about both those things, and I will work on getting those in the next couple weeks if that's possible.
Yeah, but that is because that, for people who do not know, that was kind of, I'm not sure that's his big breakthrough, but he made a little bit of a name for himself with his kind of march against Apu, the character.
Well, it wasn't.
You can probably explain it better than I can.
He did a documentary called "The Problem with Apu." And
yes,
basically, it's looking at South Asian representation in media, and the crux of it is that Hari, growing up as a lifelong Simpsons fan, his big problem was Apu defined him to people, so he had to deal with the stereotypes that came from that show being thrown back at him. And he's like, I love The Simpsons, but that doesn't mean you can't critique something.
Mm-hmm.
And so he got a name for himself by doing that. And one of the things he called for in that he wanted to just have a conversation with Hank Azaria, and it never ended up happening. But I was telling you this, I'll get him on the show and he can explain it and keep in tune for the interview, because I just want to say this: Hank Azaria is a next level human. I will say that based on what Hari has told me about
who
Hank's
he is
journey. So yeah, we'll get him on the show. But yeah, June 2nd and 3rd, the Den Theater in Chicago. Tickets are available. 4 shows. I will be hosting. It'll be amazing.
Send me those links so I can put in the show notes.
I will send you those links.
And you can always find the show notes at asgoeswisconsin.com/listen.
Get those pictures of the wild parsnips.
I will get there's a lot. I have a busy afternoon. I'm going to get these up today.
Jane's all about that parsnip, baby.
I'm on a mission.
Did you
now.
find the giant hogweed song?
I did. We'll use it.
We'll use it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
What a fun show today.
Yeah.
Do we have any closing thoughts? Any closing notes for before we do our second to last No Sour Haha Fun Time Power Hour?
Corporations don't care about you.
Okay, that's a good recap.
Yep.
What else? What should we recap? Basically, that healthcare is a sham in this country.
Yep.
That politicians don't really give a flying F about gun control, or some don't,
or kids.
Shout out and in general, the woman who we all decided that we would probably rather take probation than go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Greg's Roundup. Genevieve told us about housing, beer wars, parsnips. Yeah, it was a good show.
We just shouted
We
out.
we covered a lot of ground today.
Yes, we did.
I love it. That's what I love about this show, baby.
All right. Well, tomorrow we will do it all again. We will have our weekly public cervix announcement with Dr. Kristen Lyerly. So if you have questions about women's health or health in general, you can shoot us an email at asgoeswisconsin@civicmedia.us. But in general, thank you for texting. Thank you for calling. Thank you for being part of the show. We will see you back here tomorrow at 11. This has been As Goes Wisconsin.
Mighty of wheat is our age. Human bodies through will go. With your ugly eyes,